Good evening, televiewers. You're welcome to tonight's edition of Prime Hour on my Media Prime TV, an edition that is going to be looking at what it takes to finance presidential elections campaigns. On October 2025, Cameroonians are going to the polls to elect the President of the Republic. What does it take to run such campaigns, and how ready are political parties to raise enough funds that will take them through all 10 regions of Cameroon, all divisions and subdivisions, villages and cities, to campaign for votes? That is going to be the focus for tonight's edition of the program. We also, if time permits, are going to be looking at what the chiefs are doing in politics. Is it their place? What are the impacts of openly participating in politics as traditional rulers in Cameroon? What is the thoughts of those who are with me in the studio with respect to open politicking by our traditional rulers? We are going to be discussing this with panelists who are with me in the studio. Dr. Michael Nimancho is a member of Cameroon Civil Society and a lecturer with some universities in Cameroon. Good evening, Doctor. We're glad to have you.
Good evening, Mr. Liu. It's nice to be here to discuss about a topic that is also dear to me, very close to my heart, touching on traditional rulers. And of course, you know, myself, I am a traditional custodian, a Shei from the tribe of Noni. Of course, I belong to the Kwifon Society, and we are the ones who call the shots when it comes to tradition. And when a topic like this comes up, I'm very, very happy to discuss, because a lot of issues have gone wrong in the past years. Well, we are going to discuss it not only holistically, but holistically, to be able to see why certain issues happen. Because when you get to the stream and you find a water bubbling and dirty somewhere, you know that something has caused it, has stirred the water. And therefore, sometimes there are certain things not good to condemn outrightly until we get to the innermost part of them and see exactly what is causing that. Because personally, I've said it here, especially when we discussed a topic about the funds signing and supporting President Pobia the last time. I gave my opinion. I said, but then the funds should remain in their palaces, and the chiefs and their palaces, Lamida in their Lamidat, Lamidos in their Lamidat, and take care of the people that the gods have given them to take care of. And well, we're going to be able to dissect the topic, and I know that my submissions are going to be objective. Thanks for inviting me.
Dr. Simo has been away for long. She is a militant of the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, the CPDM party. She's here once again. Good evening, Doctor. We're glad to have you.
Bien le bonsoir à vous, Mr. Léo. Bonsoir au panel que je vous laisse le soin d'achever la présentation. Bonsoir aux téléspectateurs. C'est un véritable plaisir d'être sur votre plateau. Ça fait longtemps, c'est vrai. Mais c'est indépendamment, il faut le dire, de ma volonté. Donc, rassurez-vous. J'espère que nous échangerons, voilà. Nous apporterons notre contribution sur les différentes thématiques savamment choisies par vous. C'est un plaisir d'être là.
Prince Oboso Opopo is here with us. He is a member of the Frankist movement, Secretary General for that matter, and also the leader as far as the Southwest region is concerned. We're glad to have you.
Thank you, Mr. Kum Leonard. Good evening to all the televiewers and panelists here. Once more, I'm happy to be here again to educate our people on certain very pertinent issues about the role of the chief in politics. You know, many people are of the opinion that chiefs are not supposed to do politics. As a prince, that I am a boy from the palace, I think I have a better understanding of the role of the chief, and tonight we'll be giving clarifications to that aspect. And as far as presidential elections are coming up, it is imperative for us to see the preparedness, especially when it has to do with financing the presidential elections if the parties, especially the opposition parties, have the capacity to do that. So it's going to be a very exciting moment, and once more, thank you for the invitation.
We are also expecting Fa Evisa Tayong to join us in the course of tonight's edition of the program. He is the Deputy Communication Secretary for the Cameroon Renaissance Movement. He should be on his way caught in traffic. We start with you, Dr. Dimancho, and whether you are very comfortable with chiefs not just taking part in political activities, but outrightly identifying and supporting XYZ party.
Well, let us get in the context and know who is a chief or a fon, because generally we call them chiefs. I mean, that is
traditional rulers.
Traditional rulers, of course. That is really should be the term that we use, because in Cameroon we have different appellations for that, for the Grassfield and other regions. I think that traditional rulers have a calling, and the calling of the traditional rulers, I would say, they have first is for cultural preservation. Traditional rulers are called to preserve the culture of a people. They are, as they call them, traditional rulers who preserve, who lead the people in the preservation of the culture. That is the first function of the traditional rulers. Secondly, we look at traditional rulers to be spiritual guide leaders who, when we say spiritual, because after all, Africans, they have their own spirituality, which the people are there to, and traditional leaders are supposed to lead the people spiritually in adherence to African traditional religion. We are going to be able to look at it because you see that there has been interference of modernism, that with the advent of Christianity and all of those, that we have seen that a lot of things have been adulterated in so many ways. So we look at traditional leaders to be spiritual guidance within the communities. Now the third rule, which is very important for traditional rulers, is supposed to be for conflict resolutions. Traditional leaders are habilitated with that savoir-faire that they have to be able to resolve conflicts within the community. And another thing that we will also look at with traditional leaders is that they are community leaders, of course, whereby I remember, I'm looking back at my own background, where I come from, where conflicts are resolved within the arena of the palace, of the Fons Palace. In my own background, we call them the Fons. Conflicts are resolved in that arena. Now, we are now seeing that with globalization and all of that, we find people taking conflicts out of the palace to resolve them in gendarmeries, in commissariat, and all of those. But the principal rule of traditional leaders is to be able to gather the people, bring the people together in the fold, and be able to give them that spiritual guidance. Why? Because where I come from, a leader, traditional leadership is hereditary. Means that it comes from the father, or maybe from the father to the son, as tradition actually warrants. And therefore we usually say that they are the ancestors actually who direct on how or who should be a traditional leader according to the tradition of the place. And now we now see what has come up. Politics has come up, and let me just note that a traditional leader never lacks. In principle, is not supposed to lack, and therefore everything that the village has. That is why in my we call the traditional leader day. That day symbolizes what? That day symbolizes the whole village. It means that what? You never know the name of a traditional leader. You will refer to them as they. Means that what? They incorporate, they represent a whole village. And when they represent the whole village, it means that what? Their rule is much more spiritual than just what you see physical. And therefore, all those who belong to that particular lineage or particular tribe are supposed to actually have a leaning on that day who is the direct protector of all, who receives from the ancestors, from the gods, and then he transmits to the people as they are. And he, in his palace where he sits on the day, he is supposed to have it all. He has it all, and in principle, meaning that what the phone never lacks. It is now that a lot of things have started changing with politics and all of those, that you find the phone now beginning to have inclinations to politics and supporting one or the other, because things have changed. Things are not the way they used to be. Tradition is now gaining some kind of transformation, whereby now the phone, instead of having all as we usually have, the phones, people now are selective in giving to the phone, because the tradition has come to, politics has come to divide and not to unite. So in one way or the other, sometimes when I want to blame them in another way, I see that perhaps they are looking for what they can survive with. In my tribe, I can still quote that a phone has a lot of responsibility. One of the responsibilities a phone has is the responsibility of so many wives. And when you have so many wives, it shows that what? It is the village that feeds the wife. Because the phone doesn't own a farm. Traditionally, the phone doesn't own a farm. In my village, again, there are usually days that the whole village is supposed to go and work what we call the phone's farm. Because the phone doesn't go to the farm. The phone has the responsibility to sit in the palace, guide the people, solve problems, and be the spiritual leader in one way or the other, because he goes and speaks with the gods, with the ancestors, bring messages to the people.
Yeah, Dr. Simo, I don't know what you think. Your traditional ruler, your chief, I see into active politics. What is the position of the CPDM party? That funds should, or chiefs should outrightly engage in politics?
Mr. Léo, j'ai été, enfin, d'ailleurs j'ai écouté, ça il faut le dire, avec beaucoup d'attention ce qu'a dit le docteur tout à l'heure, mais vous vous êtes rendu compte, je ne sais pas si je me suis rendu compte tout seul, c'est qu'il était difficile, n'est-ce pas, quand même, pour lui d'expliquer ou alors de démontrer clairement pourquoi est-ce que le chef traditionnel ne devrait pas entrer dans la politique. J'ai apprécié et admiré le fait qu'il parte de différentes fonctions du chef traditionnel. C'est très important. Le chef traditionnel, yes, it's good. I appreciate it. Yes, I appreciate it. Il faut le dire, peut-être je vais le reprendre en français cette fois-là. Le chef traditionnel est celui-là qui est comme le gardien de la tradition. Ça, il a très bien dit. C'est celui-là qui est comme le berger de toute une communauté. C'est-à-dire, il est un peu les yeux, l'espoir, la tête pensante de toute une communauté. Mais à côté de toutes ces fonctions-là, il est également le gardien spirituel, comme il a souligné. Mais à côté de toutes ces fonctions-là, il faut que nous sachions que le chef traditionnel est d'abord un être humain normal, pensant. Ça, on ne va pas le lui enlever, cette qualité-là. Et maintenant, en tant qu'être humain normal, pensant, il est un citoyen d'une nation qui a également des obligations citoyennes à régler. Et ceci dit, lorsque j'ai fini de le dire, on va se rendre compte que le problème du chef traditionnel n'est pas qu'il soit qu'il s'exerce ou soit dans la politique, mais c'est le comportement qu'il adopte face à la chose politique. Moi, voilà où je vois le problème. Si on a un chef traditionnel qui sait qu'il a un peuple à gérer, il sait qu'il a un peuple à conduire, il sait qu'il a un peuple à nourrir spirituellement, et il sait bien établir la part des choses. C'est-à-dire, il ne faudrait pas que un peuple, c'est une centaine, 300 de population. Alors, vous convenez avec moi que 300 esprits ne vont pas forcément adhérer. Lorsqu'on parle de parti politique, c'est une idéologie. C'est-à-dire, on adhère parce qu'on ressent quelque chose. Donc, vous convenez avec moi que 300 personnes ne ressentiront pas la même chose pour X ou pour Y. Alors, si le chef, dans la gestion de ses affaires, ne fait pas cas de l'appartenance politique, moi je ne trouve pas le problème. Le problème se situera au niveau où on a un chef qui commence à vous dire que non, moi je veux commencer à m'occuper des populations qui sont pour le RDPC par exemple, et ne pas m'occuper de ceux qui sont pour le SDF ou autre chose. Voilà où le problème va se situer. Mais si on a un chef qui on sait naturellement que c'est un citoyen qui a la capacité, qui a le droit, et j'ai envie de dire même le devoir de s'exprimer politiquement et qui le fait sans pour autant nuire aux fonctions traditionnelles qu'il incarne. Je ne trouve pas le problème là-dessus. Aujourd'hui, maintenant, on est en train de stigmatiser les chefs traditionnels parce que par endroits, ils ont levé leur motion de soutien au chef de l'État. Mais moi, j'ai pas vu des gens. Et en même temps, on est dans une logique où on dit on veut une certaine démocratie claire et établie. Moi, j'ai vu des prêtres se lever et dire donner leur point de vue sur la situation politique. Ça n'a inquiété personne. Personne n'a dit non, vous êtes habilités à vous occuper de la foi intérieure et tout. Ils sont libres, ils sont citoyens, ils peuvent émettre leur point de vue. On a vu des chefs traditionnels émettre le leur, alors on commence à crier. On a vu ci, on a vu ça. Donc moi, je pense que l'accès ou alors l'adhésion d'un chef traditionnel à un parti politique en lui-même n'est pas le problème. C'est le comportement qu'il adopte face à ces populations lorsqu'il appartient à un parti politique qui pourra, à la limite, ou alors à un moment faire
Doctor, we know that there's what they call party discipline. As a traditional ruler and the party says this is the way we have to go, and you have maybe a different political shades in your village, how do you manage them? You have PCRN in your village?
Non. J'ai envie de dire que les chefs traditionnels, quand même, il faut le dire, nous sommes des Bantous, nous sommes africains, et vous pensez que le chef, il est facilement manipulable? Non, je vous en prie. Et puis lorsqu'on parle de chef, on oublie ce qui est à côté du chef. Il y a ce qu'on appelle les notables, je crois que tout le monde en a. C'est-à-dire, le chef, il est là, mais il y a des notables, tous ensemble, qui gardent spirituellement le village. Et puis le chef de village n'est pas quand même un citoyen qui est facilement manipulable ou domptable, je pense. Donc, au-delà de tout ce qu'il peut faire ou alors de position politique qu'il peut prendre, je crois que les chefs traditionnels ont la capacité ou le discernement d'établir entre son action politique et la gestion de ces populations.
Far Evis Tayon just joined us. We said he was caught in traffic. He's here. Good evening. Far, we're glad to have you and your first impressions. Is there a clear impact when a chief, on a community, when a chief openly identifies with a political party?
I think, thank you for giving me the floor. I think many things are wrong, and we have been sugarcoating these aspects of traditional rulers being in party politics. I listened to a doctor trying to give a defense on it, you know, and I think we are just kidding. That's the reality. I talk as someone who's embedded in tradition, of course, as a custodian of tradition. I talk like someone who is very close to how traditions occur. Doctor just said we are Bantus, but I think we are Bantus. I'm sure she's missing a point somewhere along the line to the role of Bantu, so to say. If you go to West Africa, for example, you go to Ghana, for example, you realize that Nana Akufo and a host of others, they usually go to palaces, remove their shoes, bend down, and give the respect required, because the traditional rulers in Ashanti or Ghana itself, Accra, you know, they don't move into the party politics issue. If you go to parts of northern Nigeria, the sultans themselves, even when the president is coming, you know, the president gives them the full respect and accolade because they don't find them into partisan politics as we find in the kangaroo system here. I will tell you that, like what doctor is saying, the justifications are just in the air. And I think that doctor needs to a little bit push up and take things somehow serious so that we don't educate the public wrongly. This is pure tradition. And with partisan politics, I should be able to say it, and the doctor will know very well, even if they want to sugarcoat it, that she does not see any problem with the traditional ruler being in party politics. It is the way he behaves that is a problem. No. The kangaroo system has carefully carved that. They have pocketed the traditional rulers. They have lured them into ruling party CPDM, and the traditional rulers are dancing, but CPDM Bafia dance. This is a reality. Doctor knows what I'm talking. When you see, imagine their moves. You have the National Conference of Traditional Rulers, their motion of support, bam, they are moving. After they finish, the Lamidos will go. These ones will go. Who are they fooling? Who are they deceiving? In real terms, when CPD people talk and look at that, I just laugh because they are those who have destroyed our traditional heritage. The ruling party, French-speaking African countries, in particular, have a particular system of assimilation. And that system is different from the Anglo-Saxon system of administration, which has to do with indirect rule. And so as a result of that, because they have made in that amalgamation, whereby the French system of governance, of assimilation takes precedence, explains why we find our traditional rulers. Traditional rulers are custodians of tradition. Traditional rulers represent, they are fathers of the tribe or the village where they govern. And when they are fathers, it means that they are fathers without restriction. They are father to me, who is from CRM, father to doctor, who is from CPDM, father to my brother, who is from SDF, and any other person. Which means that, in as much as doctor was just saying that it's their fundamental right, you know, CPDM, they have a way of always defending. It's their fundamental right as citizens and other right. No. If it comes to voting, which is a ballot and a personal something, a traditional ruler.
When every anniversary is an opportunity to reward loyalty, Orange is here to celebrate its 25th anniversary with all Cameroonians. Many prizes to win for the occasion, tourism trips, latest smartphones, and lots of other surprises. Quick, subscribe to Orange Bonus on #111*1# or via the Maxit app. Gather a max of points and try to win great prizes. Orange is here.
Majesty Abumbi, he is not into partisan politics. And these are I'm giving popular examples. The other traditional ruler, Baba Ewane, who traveled, is not into partisan politics. If you look at their governance system, they were accommodating all political parties because the subjects have a right to belong to any political party. But on their part, when SDF comes, they receive in the palace. CPDM comes, they receive. CRM comes, they receive. PCRM comes, they receive. So that given that respect, and when we look at their aspect of jurisdiction, in their traditional ruling, when it comes to traditional council, people saw their judgment just. Because in any decision they took, they will not misquote it that you did it because this person is not from your party. I think that we should have to be serious here. The traditional values that have been lost is because the CPDM put in place a mechanism to catch them. Look at it. We had one time president of the Northwest Chiefs Conference. What happened? We understand how they were gallivanting here and there. Titles were dished out to pro-CPD members. At the end, what happened? We understand, even in Nchupichem division, I had a renowned traditional ruler, just like in Momo division. When elections are coming, they will catch you in a particular place and tell you, swear, cross this particular traditional thing to show that you will give your loyalty to the head of state and all the like. They usurp those traditional powers and use them to lure gullible subjects to the ruling party. And that's why you see they'll keep appointing them senators. When you're a traditional ruler, you're influential. You are senator or you are members of the central committee. Because they believe that when you're in the central committee, you would use traditional methods to lure your subjects to the ruling party. It is a kangaroo system of government that has expired. Any traditional ruler into partisan politics expired with its ancestors. Okay. From the day he entered politics.
We have persons who are from the palace. You say you have a title in the palace here.
A title, yes. I'm a spokesperson to the chief.
He is also from the palace in Oni. Yeah. Prince Epopo is also a prince from the palace. Exactly. Yeah. Yes. What is your take on those political party traditional leaders who openly endorse party A or B?
Well, I want us to first of all understand who is a traditional ruler.
Okay.
And what is the role? Dr. Demancho explained the role, but he didn't finish. Who is a traditional ruler is what we should be able to get clearly. A traditional ruler is a person who holds a recognized hereditary or appointed position of leadership. I want you to take note of the word position of leadership within his indigenous community, within his traditional community. It therefore means that a traditional ruler is a leader of his community. He holds a leadership position. And when you are a leader, you have certain functions you have to carry out. The first function, there are many, but I'm going to dwell on three principal functions. so that we should get it clearly. Dr. Demancho talked of two, but there's one he left among the three I want to say. The first one, he said the chiefs are custodians of culture and tradition. All of us understand that one. They have the responsibility to preserve, to promote, to protect, you know, the custom, the values, and practices of the people. Kangaroo Man here said they are custodians, they commune with the gods. They are spiritual leaders. It is true. We are not refuting the fact. The second role of the chief is they have the role of conflict resolution and arbitration, you know, to solve problems within their communities and initiate peace among their people. But the third role, and the most important role that the panelists here have been neglecting, is the advocacy for development. Development advocacy. The chief advocates for development within his community. And you will not bring development to your community by talking to your ancestors. Ancestors will not bring light. Ancestors will not bring road. Ancestors will not bring schools and health facilities into our communities. The only way a chief can advocate for development in his community is by getting involved into active politics. How? I come from Toko. Toko is a subdivision in Dian. If my chief was not in the council as a councillor to talk and defend the interests of the village, the small amenities that we enjoy, we will not have them. So for me, it is imperative for the chief to be in the corridors of power, to be in the boardroom. As I always say, politics is premium. It is not by singing your tradition. It is not by practicing your tradition. It is not by talking to the gods that development will fall from your ancestors and develop the village.
Yeah, but Prince, we have this village has municipal councillors. These villages are actually represented by a senator, by an MP. We have divisional officers who are there to. Does it take a chief? And if a chief now says, "I'm joining active politics," especially because I get the sense of what you are saying, that the chief will advocate to the ruling party to come and bring development. What if the ruling party is not in power? It means that the chief will now have to go advocating in a different political party?
Well, you are trying to limit the leadership role of a chief to a partisan perspective. It's not about CPDM or SDF.
No. We are talking about party politics. It means that
we are not talking about party. We are talking about politics in general. We are talking about the chief to become a politician or the chief to practice politics. Whether he decides to go to SDF, whether he decides to go to CPDM is not important. The bottom line is that he's a politician. I think that is where the argument is. It's not about CPDM or SDF, because when I look at what my colleagues are saying, they are hammering on CPDM. No, the CPDM have not. There is no law that says that the chiefs must be militants of the CPDM party.
Yeah, but are we not also being? They are not fair, because we give the impression that okay, the chiefs. Is there a law that forces the chiefs to join the CPDM party? Though the funds of the Northwest party have openly said the President of the Republic should stand, and those of the Southwest region. But the CPDM is not forcing them to be militants.
Exactly, they are not forcing, but they are luring them to be militants. Of course, that is a fact. Now, I want to come to what Prince is saying. It is important, but he should know that he thinks that the chiefs or the traditional leaders are not just supposed to be talking to the gods, because the gods will not bring development. But let me call him back to the federal system in Cameroon between 1961 and 1972, whereby in the southern Cameroon had what they call the House of Chiefs. This is actually where they went to discuss issues that concerns the community. They did not take partisan.
Will you agree with me
no,
that
listen,
the House of Chiefs is
listen.
a political structure?
Not really in that perspective.
No, it's an assembly.
I want to
it's a political structure.
Listen,
it's a pure assembly.
No, you are arguing from the perspective of the citizen.
It's a pure assembly. The House of Chiefs is a political structure.
What I'm trying to say,
it is not a traditional structure. They don't consult gods there.
What point are you
They
making?
don't do sanja or traditional incantations there. They talk policies that will rule the country. That is what they talk in the House of Chiefs.
Please,
it's a political structure.
Please, Prince. Yeah, come on.
I don't know what you want to gain in arguing this way. I think we should dissect the topic.
Just make a point.
There's no issue in arguing about this and this. Because when you look at the administration, the British administration, who actually passed through, they had what they call the indirect rule. And they passed through the chiefs to the people. We will now tell me that that was political. Yeah, I mean, it was a community kind of galvanization of the people. They knew that the best route to pass and meet the people, because the chief wielded a lot of power, and the people respected the chiefs. Now, let me tell you, it has caused some tribes a lot of problems as chiefs started taking going into partisan politics, because there's no more separation of powers. Imagine I enter into the chief's palace and I see maybe the photo, of a particular party leader with whom I am not in agreement, which is not close to my heart. We know that each and every person, even those chiefs that we say that should not get involved in partisan politics, they have their own parties in their heart. We are not saying that they are not supposed to vote in elections. They are supposed to have in their heart, but they are supposed to accept each and every child of the village into the palace without any bias. Imagine a chief who takes partisan politics and put in his heart. What happens when you get somebody who is coming from a party that is not yours? We have had some chiefs, and I'm talking with proofs. We have had some chiefs who have had appointment, chiefs who are working, who have had appointment because they openly declared that way for a particular party. I don't want to call the party. These are facts that we must dissect. I'm not talking from the standpoint of any party. I am talking holistically, and I said at the beginning of this program that I have to talk holistically, because when you bring the chiefs into taking partisan politics, it separates the people rather than unite. And our advice, because we are trying to bring in bring some advice and table it to those who care to listen, that a chief, Mr. Farr just gave example of some chiefs who have remained in their palaces without involving into politics. And development is there. Do you think that it is a chief that is supposed to go to Yaoundé, to the ministry, and look for development project to the people? What is your rule as a child of that party?
No. You already spoke. Let him land. Please.
What is the problem?
Please.
What point are you making? I do not know what point Prince is making. Because
excuse me. Wait. 1 minute.
We are not talking politics.
1 minute. Just take note of the things he's saying.
Yeah, that is it. It's simple.
Yeah, please. Okay. Yeah.
We are not talking partisan politics. We are trying to dissect a topic that is of concern to all of us. Belong to the palaces or to the chiefdoms or to the Lamida, and therefore we should talk what is good for our people. What I'm saying is what should be good for my people, because immediately I see my own phone being involved into partisan politics, I begin to take that phone with a pinch of salt. I know that phone is getting on serious about his role in the village, because in his kingdom we have about 370 political parties. Imagine that he chooses one party to belong to. What happened to the other parties? What happened to the other people, the other parties? Or you think that my phone should go to Yaoundé and look for a project? What is my role as a child of that fondom? Am I not the one who is supposed to go catch and bring to the fondom? Let me tell you, maybe we have different explanation of what fondoms and chiefdoms are. Let me tell you, the funds have crowned people in their palaces because they went out there, caught projects, or even during the area years, you go as a hunter, you bring in a very, very mighty elephant to the palace, and they crown you because this is what the chiefs and the funds they want. Then you go out there, garner for funds, garner for projects, bring it back to the palace and present to the fund and say, this is your son. I went out for hunting. I brought back this project. Take, and this is for the village. Do you think that the fund is the one who is supposed to go up and down for that? I'm sorry to say that it is not the fund. The rule of the fund actually is that he catches all the political parties And this is what I've always said, that a fund should be able to welcome all the political parties in his village, in his fundum, because all the political parties, they are his children that are bringing. Bring the political parties, bring the development you are having in those parties. The fund welcomes the development project and distribute them in the village and blesses all of you and say, go further and bring more. Even if it means 500 political parties, the fund welcomes them and blesses their children. There is no need of a fund belonging or chewing a flag that I belong to this party because I want to go and catch or get project. From my own tradition, you don't see a fund going out for hunting. If you see a fund going out for hunting, it means that fund ceases to be the fund of the people, because our tradition is strategized. There are people who are meant for war. We call them in the food. Maybe you would also tell me, Prince, what is the strategization of your own tradition. We have them food, those who go for war. We have the queen fund, where I belong. Those who see in the night and in the day, mystically. And that when they see trouble coming, they whisper to the fund that this is where trouble is coming. If you see development coming, you bring the people, you bless the people and present to the fund. The fund is there for that, to welcome what is good. And that is why the fund does not have an enemy in my village. If you are a thief, let me give an example. If you steal and you are running and people are running behind you to catch you, once you enter the fund's palace, you are free. Because the fund will first of all forgive you and welcome you, put behind his back, because he knows that that is a safe haven for each and every person. The fund's palace in my place is like the embassy. Where you get there, you are free.
Okay.
That is that. I mean, we should get this fact. Okay. It's not an issue of politics.
Yeah, but if you speak, it means you are using your time. After that, I go to.
Let me reply.
Okay. If you speak for more than 5 minutes, it's your time that is consuming. Okay.
Yes,
no, yes,
Dr. Dimancho, I've heard you, but all those your aspects, Quifon, those who see in the night, those who see in the day, all those spiritual tendencies don't bring development.
They do.
They don't develop. They don't. We have the war in Northwest and Southwest. Why did your Quifon not see all those things? So look. We should be serious. If we want to develop this country, we should be serious. We should not be counting. We should not be counting on trivialities like seeing the night, seeing the day. Okay. You come from the Northwest. If I look the way you talk about fun.
Yes.
Yes. You come from the Northwest, where you people have the hereditary form of governance within the traditional setup. I come from Ngolo, a dominant tribe Indian, and we are Republicans with the Ngolo people. Republicans in the sense that it is not because your father was chief and you the son, whether you are an idiot, you'll be chief. No, we are people that we work on merit basis. We see how you are responsible, how you are contributive, how you bring ideas, how you love the village, how you love the people, how you mingle and call for development. That is how the people make you their chief. We are Republicans. We work on merit basis. And we don't have the tendency where people come and give to the chief. Your chiefs, they enjoy a lot of maybe royalties, I don't know how I can call it. With us, there is not the case. The chief is the person who go for the hunting, not the people go for the hunting to come and give the chief. So our perspectives are different. Your chief is fed. Nobody feeds my chief. My chief instead feeds the village. You get it? So it is two different perspectives, two different culture, and two different vision on the way they see things. My chief needs to go to Yaoundé, stand within the hemicycle of Yaoundé, and hit the hand on the table for development to come to Toko. If he does not do that, nobody will do that. For development to come to Ndian, our chiefs need to go to Yaoundé. We encourage them to get into politics. And if I have to go by history, it's not today that chiefs are involved in politics. Historically, let us look at the Jamano-Douala Treaty of July 1884. This was one of the first treaties that led to the establishment of the German rule in Cameroon. The German representative, Gustav Nachtigal, represented the German. And we had traditional rulers like Ndumbe Lobebel and Aqua, King Bell and King Aqua. They were traditional rulers who represented the coastal chiefs of Cameroon, and they signed this treaty where they voluntarily put their territory under the protection of the German in exchange of trade benefits and mutual respect. These were traditional rulers who signed treaties with other nations. It is not today. That is before the establishment of modern states that we have today. They signed treaties. It means that traditional rulers have already been in this position of responsibility to discuss political matters. So it is not today that you come and say chiefs should not go to parliament. It is not today you come and say chiefs should not go to the Senate and talk about development in their places. So I am strongly of the opinion that chiefs should be in politics. It's very, very imperative for our communities.
Yes, Dr. Simon, is it not also divisive to some extent?
Non, non. Je crois qu'il y a un petit souci qui se pose. Et c'est généralement ça qui me gêne. Je le dis avec honnêteté. Je le comprends. Je l'ai compris peut-être beaucoup plus dur. Mais ce qu'ils essayent de démontrer, je vais leur dire, lorsque vous vous levez et dire que un chef qui est dans la politique se fait manipuler, se fait dominer par les acteurs politiques, j'ai envie de dire c'est très grave, c'est extrêmement grave. C'est même comme si vous ne mesurez pas la force et le pouvoir d'un chef traditionnel. On parle d'un homme qui a, au-delà de la capacité naturelle que nous avons, hein, à une autre force magico-mystique, moi je vais appeler ça comme ça, que beaucoup d'autres n'en ont pas. Donc il ne faudrait pas qu'on les insulte en disant, parce que les chefs ont signé une motion de soutien, vous pensez qu'ils étaient extrêmement bêtes, ils n'ont pas pensé, ils n'ont même pas regardé, comme on dit trivialement en Afrique, nous savons tous que nos chefs ont 4 yeux. Vous pensez qu'ils n'ont pas regardé avec leurs 4 yeux et dit, vraiment tout ce qui se passe là c'est rien, we have to sign it? Non. Faites-leur confiance, ils ont regardé, parce que c'est des chefs, parce qu'ils ont le pouvoir. À côté de ça, maintenant, il y a un élément qu'il ne faudrait pas oublier. Aucun village ne vit en autarcie. Mais ça, comme il faudrait bien qu'on le leur dise. Aucun village ne vit replié sur lui-même. Ça, vous le savez. Les chefs traditionnels restent et demeurent les auxiliaires de l'administration. C'est-à-dire, donc, à côté de l'action politique qu'ils vont mener, ils sont en permanent contact avec l'administration. Et quand on parle de l'administration ici, on parle de qui? On parle des sous-préfets, on parle des préfets. Imaginez, lorsqu'on décide, par exemple, l'État décide, par exemple, de vacciner les enfants contre la poliomyélite ou contre une certaine maladie, et qu'il faille entrer, on ne se lit pas seulement dans les villes, dans les grandes villes de la ville. Il faut bien qu'on aille dans les villages. Et lorsqu'on veut aller dans les villages, on sait tous que la première personne à rencontrer, c'est le chef de village. On lui montre le bien fondé de l'action et c'est ce chef qui va maintenant accompagner, n'est-ce pas, l'administration à faire ce genre de travail. Donc, le chef est un véritable auxiliaire de l'administration. Et je vous ai dit à l'entame, le problème du chef ne se situe pas au niveau de la politique. Ça, je vous ai dit. Et d'ailleurs, vous-même, vous l'aviez dit. Un chef qui fait de la politique, ça n'a aucun problème. Le problème va se situer au niveau du comportement qu'il va adopter face à ce sujet. Et ça, j'insiste là-dessus. Parce que je vais aller plus loin en vous rappelant que la chefferie n'est pas une fonction. Il faudrait qu'on soit d'accord. Et que le chef traditionnel, ce n'est pas une fonction. C'est une fonction? Non, je vais permettre. Non, c'est pas grave. Parce qu'on a des chefs traditionnels qui travaillent.
C'est une fonction.
Non, c'est une fonction, mais qui n'est pas...
Paye.
Non, je vous en prie. Oh là là. Qui les paye?
L'État paye le chef traditionnel.
Tous les chefs?
Tous les chefs, premier degré, deuxième degré. Je connais les salaires.
Je vous en prie.
Si tu ne connais pas,
c'est grave. Non, sorry.
On les paye.
Non, that's not the topic. That's not our topic. Yeah.
Je vous en prie, écoutez-moi. Je dis encore, le chef traditionnel n'est pas une fonction clé. Parce que je connais et j'ai des amis qui sont chefs traditionnels, mais qui travaillent, c'est-à-dire qui sont des enseignants, qui sont des proviseurs, qui sont des médecins, mais si après le décès du père, malheureusement, l'association est venue à eux.
Docteur,
vous comprenez ce que je veux dire?
De ton village travaille?
Oui.
Quelque part?
Oui.
Il travaille?
Oui. Non, travaillait. Il a pris la retraite, il est retourné au village. Il a pris la retraite, au village. C'était un médecin. Non, je vais terminer. Okay. C'était un médecin. Quand son père décède, la chefferie, la succession l'attrape, comme on dit clivellement chez nous, il ne va pas arrêter son travail parce qu'il est devenu chef de village. Il faut comprendre ce que je veux dire. Il a été contraint de finir ses années de fonction avant de retourner au village. Donc arrêtez de croire que le chef est celui qui doit vivre dans un espace carré uniquement avec son peuple. Quelqu'un qui doit être en permanent en relation avec l'extérieur. C'est ce que je veux dire. Je connais le chef de Fondjomoin, qui était mon camarade de classe en 3e année à l'université de Douala, qui est devenu chef traditionnel, mais qui travaille jusqu'aujourd'hui, il travaille. Ça m'a été fondé. Je lui dis bonjour en passant.
I'm not sure that is what we are discussing. We are talking about openly identifying in politics. You think that there is no source. The fact that they identify with the party is not a source of division in the community.
Exactly. Moi, mon problème.
It doesn't actually.
Non, ça ne peut pas. Du moment où le chef respecte la position ou alors le choix des uns et des autres. Moi, voilà mon véritable problème. Le chef a 500 sujets. Il a dit, on a 300 et poussières de partis politiques dans le village.
I had a historian, Professor Ngo, yesterday on this panel, who said that who used the fact that chiefs are getting into active politicking, causing problems and division in the communities. He used the situation of the Sultan of the Bamuns, where we see a clear split because he is in the CPDM and the population is the other way. And I'm sure other communities also live that experience.
Mais c'est là aussi nous gérons, ou alors si nous analysons cet angle-là, j'ai envie de dire, qu'est-ce qu'on dira des prêtres et des pasteurs?
No, for now we are
vous
talking.
Pensez que le prêtre et le pasteur, parce qu'il va s'asseoir sur la chaire et vous dit, ne votez pas RDPC, vous n'irez pas voter parce qu'il a dit ça?
Yeah, but doctor.
Voilà le véritable problème.
Doctor, when the bishops actually said President Paul Biya should not stand elections, it is militants of your party, the card, the vote party, who asked them to focus on preaching the gospel, that it was not their place.
Non, je suis en train de souligner un élément important. Je dis bien, le chef traditionnel, l'homme religieux, l'homme je sais pas trop quoi, est d'abord un citoyen lambda. Il ne faudrait pas qu'on perde ça de vue. C'est d'abord un citoyen lambda. Alors parce qu'il est citoyen lambda, il a ses aspirations propres à lui. Tant que ces aspirations n'impactent pas négativement la fonction de chef traditionnel qu'il incarne, je ne trouve pas de problème.
Okay.
That's my problem.
Yes. Is there a way traditional rulers should engage in politics that actually does not tell the population that I belong to this or that party?
Yes, there is a way, Mr. Leo. There is a way. And you see, I've been catching cold here while Prince and Dr. Simo speak in that light, because when we take partisan politics the wrong way, it has an adverse effect on our academic portfolio, and sometimes our presentations become very doubtful. First, I'm worried when I hear Dr. Simo tells me that traditional rulers is not a function. I feel very, very disturbed because it is a function, and it's heavy. What they call it auxiliary to administration. If they say auxiliary, means it's just after superfe, it is you. You have a jurisdiction that you control. You have a traditional council. It's a whole structure man together. If you see, Dr. here, Jibato comes from the foreign palace, just like myself. If I tell you that we work every day for community development, it is not politics that brings development in the village through a traditional ruler. That is a replica of the kangaroo system put in place by the CPDM regime. That you can only be into partisan politics before you bring development in your area. No. When you are a ruler, you have elites. Political elites, economic elites are the ones you give them orders. Please, we need this in our village. They rush to wherever it is and bring that development. It is quite so sad. And I tell you, probably Dr. Sumo does not understand. Let me a little bit educate her on that. For traditional rulers, it is their function. And that's why they are paid. I'm surprised you don't even know that. And now I'm giving you that it's a function. No, now I'm still coming.
Give me just
I'm still coming. I'm still coming.
J'ai peur qu'on ne s'est pas compris.
Now, what we look at.
J'ai insisté sur la possibilité d'un chef traditionnel de faire une autre fonction. Et je vous ai démontré
and why it is possible,
que ce n'est pas l'unique fonction d'un être humain. On a des chefs traditionnels qui sont des médecins, qui sont des enseignants. Et ça existe.
If you are a traditional ruler, you have exemptions at your job site as a traditional ruler. Mr. Leo, I know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
There are times you can go off job, your official job, to the palace. It happens. As I'm talking now, I'm talking about examples. If you work within the civil service, there are times you can stay up 2-3 months in the palace, and it is covered by the GO in that area and the boss of your job site, because they recognize that that duty is a duty recognized by the state.
When every anniversary is an opportunity to reward loyalty, Orange is here to celebrate its 25th anniversary with all Cameroonians. Many prizes to win for the occasion, tourism trips, latest smartphones, and lots of other surprises. Quick, subscribe to Orange Bonus on #111*1# or via the Maxit app. Gather a max of points and try to win great prizes. Orange is here.
Bienvenue à la 10e édition de SARCA, le Salon africain de la relation client et des centres d'appel. Cette année, nous plongeons dans le thème Intelligence artificielle et expérience client. L'Afrique s'engage. Imaginez un futur où l'intelligence artificielle révolutionne le service client. Il y aura des expositions, conférences et formations. Rejoignez-nous pour célébrer cette évolution au SARCA du 23 au 25 avril 2025 à l'hôtel Aqua Palace Douala. Soyez acteurs du changement.
Pay your taxes and custom fees at Express Exchange. The solution is close to you. Enter an Express Exchange agency, head to the cash register with your tax notice, and make your payment of tax and custom fees with ease. Receive a confirmation receipt. So cool, Mola. Yes, Mola. From now on, I pay my taxes and custom fees at Express Exchange. It's simple. Express Exchange, partner of the Guild and the Directorate General of Taxation. Express Exchange, #1 in quality service in Cameroon.
When they say Republicans, and the traditional value, it doesn't tie. Because in the traditional value, we have what they call hereditary. If it's not hereditary, it's appointment. Even if it's appointment, it goes with some dictum. That is not, it cannot be evaluated the same with civil administration. Now you talk about Republicans. You see the kind of statements people use, and they sway people out of the context. And they tell the traditional rulers have the right to. Now, people forget, I know the territorial boundaries and operations of Njan. If they say traditional ruler is in this area, we should be asking, what development did that particular traditional ruler bring to that area? I know about the enclavement of that area. I don't want to go a different way because we are all Cameroonians and all areas we live. We move there freely. And so we talk about development. Look at those who are not even into partisan politics. I don't want to be calling them because the development in Bafu was not brought because Fuanabumbi was in the CPDM. No. The political elites brought the development in Bafut. And if you look at it critically, as we said, CPDM themselves have caged those chiefs so that they begin to think that they should be standing at the corridors. Mr. Kum, I'm giving an example that our traditional rulers went to Yaoundé and were rubbished by a politician. They slept in the waiting room from morning and they were only attended at 9 p.m. in the night. Traditional rulers, for that matter, after having dozed in the reception of that ministry from morning till 9 p.m. And these are traditional rulers that you cannot keep them waiting. But the elites kept them waiting because the elite knew that at the end of it, it will be. Where is that word traditional royal beggars coming from? It's from some of these things that these CPDM politicians have lured these chiefs into, making them to feel as if they are beggars. A normal traditional ruler who is up to date can coerce with the elites and they bring development without necessarily begging, without necessarily being into partisan politics. If we go to Royal Bade Suguju, for example, in the West region, I don't think that village is developing because he's into partisan politics. No. But he has his Royal Bade Suguju in the West region. He has a command of all the elites. No, I'm talking about now. I don't know whether he has done or not. No, excuse me. Excuse me, I'm talking about now. I am talking about now. If he had been and he realized and came out, the development he has. Excuse me, I am still coming. There is a difference. What is the difference? Let me educate you. I want to educate the civilian people. I want to teach you the difference. Please answer the difference. Please get a difference. The difference between when he was in partisan politics and now is that he has control of the entire elite in his hands. Soguju, his Royal Majesty Soguju has control of whether CPDM opposition are in his hands now, as opposed to before. This is what they call not belonging into partisan politics to get development holistic. And now when we sit here and we talk about Republican, we talk about this and that, the truth is that The CPDM have their systems of operation, and no matter they give the justifications, the example of Bamu is glaring. The example of Bamu is glaring. The tradition that His Royal Majesty there is not supposed to be having a difference with the subject because partisan politics has come into it. And it will obviously mar development than bring development. It will mar development than bring development.
Please.
Your problem is the CPDM.
Only.
This is the only politician whose political agenda is against another political party.
The CPDM is the one not manning
that.
It's a mess. How many of them are into other political
the
parties?
MLC, you are in the MLC. I don't even know how you call it.
You appoint them as MPs. You appoint them as senators and all the like.
You are a country in the MLC. And from what I am seeing,
what are you justifying?
You as MLC, your political agenda is the CPDM. I've never seen a political
because you have destroyed this nation.
I've never seen a political party whose political agenda is another political party.
I'm giving you examples here. You've destroyed the nation.
Since you are on this
you are justifying the unjustifiable.
You're only talking about the CPDM.
Because it's your policy.
You're only talking about the CPDM has done what?
The CPDM has destroyed this country.
Okay, please, Oboso. Yes, you say chiefs should get active in politics. We have seen them actually doing that. How has that helped to develop their respective communities?
With examples.
Yes, he has already. He's using time. Yes, go on.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
You already.
Thank you. What was your question? That how has
we've seen chiefs who are very involved. Take the case of the Sultan of the Bamoons. He has just been appointed member of Central Committee. We know so many of them, and you say, okay, we need to move up to Yaoundé to hunt for the village. Yes.
I think that our political system, our system of governance in Cameroon, is a very wise one. A wise one led by a wise man, His Excellency President Paul Biya. You see, when I was defining who is a traditional ruler, I said it is a person who holds a recognized hereditary or appointed position of leadership. Now, who is that president of a republic that you want to set up government, you want to set up government structures, and you isolate those who hold recognized position of leadership in their communities? Cameroon is made up of communities. Cameroon is made up of the different tribes. When you say Southwest, what is Southwest? Can you show me Southwest? When you go there, it's either you are in the Bakweri land, or you are in the Bafo land, or you are in the Roko land, or you are in the Bakosi land. Those are people who have the Southwest. And those people have their leaders who are even stronger and more trusted than elected or official politicians. Politicians come and go, but the chiefs are stable. They maintain stability and continuity. And because they maintain stability and continuity, they have a hand, a steady hand in governance. And in those regions where the chief is highly respected, there is loyalty to the chief. The chief tend to be a better representative of the people than even those politicians. Because the politician will say, I've been given 5-year mandate. It's better I chop because I'm not sure of my next 5 years. But the chief who is in politics does not think like that, because he is chief for life. And he will be accountable to his people.
Can you now come to my question? You say they should go to Yaoundé. What development have we seen in our communities because the chiefs went to Yaoundé?
What development have we not seen because the chief have not gone to Yaoundé?
No, just answer my question. You're asking.
All the development that you see, all the development that you see, the hospitals, the schools, the universities, count them.
They are lobbied by the chiefs?
They are lobbied at a certain level by the chiefs. Yes. They are lobbied at a certain level by the chiefs. You cannot ignore the role of the vice president of the Senate, the Rey Boba of Garwa. You cannot ignore his role in the development of Garwa. The vice president of the Senate is a pivotal role when it comes to laws, regulations in this country. So you cannot say that he is not playing a pivotal role in the development of Garua. Chief Mokate of Kumba is playing a pivotal role in the development of Kumba as a senator. So you cannot be asking me that since the chief are in politics or in power, what have they brought? What have they not brought?
No, Prince, when you come to a program, I should at least I have the right to ask every question now. Except there are taboo questions.
No, no, actually.
No, please. Now you're trying to censor how I should do my program. You should be ready to. Now, let me get to you. We have, let's take cases here. We have chiefs around. How far developed are some of the regions that we can tie these developments to our chiefs because of the active participation in politics?
Yeah, I really think that when you look at chiefdoms, let me talk about that, where you have chiefs actively involved in politics, you see quite glaring underdevelopment in those regions. That is a clear fact. Now, let me bring you to one interesting fact about, because I also want to quote a region where I come from. There is this issue of self-development in community, that's self-rule, self-help development. Yes, in community development. The rule of associations and all of those, which many people are copying today, and which extends to, the credit unions that are littered here and there around the country now. It was an issue of the grass field, the west and the northwest regions, because the people grew up to know what we call community development. And this was guided by who? By the funds. Community development in the grass field, you do not wait for the government to come and build maybe a community hall or to build maybe a toilet or whatsoever in the community. The people under the leadership of the fund, they do that before the government is coming afterward. But in some areas, I understand Prince very well, because in some areas they wait for the government to do everything. And that is where the problem is. In those areas, I encourage them to go to Yaoundé. But when you go to the grass field and you see the amount of development, start asking whether this development is from where. And that is why you find that there are even many private institutions in the northwest and the west region, for example, because people bring in their private initiatives and sponsorship to this program. But in other regions, the government must come and give through the PNG whatsoever public investment budget before they start doing, even building a toilet. This is where the problem is, because I will not imagine how you would think that it is the chief that has to enter politics and then galvanize, or lobby for funds before a village is developed. Where is the rule? Are we now saying that the government has become so much irresponsible that the chiefs must come and say that, okay, I'm leading these people? What about, because in the Northwest, let me tell you, a fund is a fund. Even if it rules 10 people, it is a fund. Now, are you not saying that? Because one of the things I understand with the chiefs in court is that when you carry a bigger population, you can be able maybe to go to Yaoundé and then promise that this population is going to vote for this particular party. And that is where you have what you want to have. Because the government will play strategically. They will not just receive any chief. Now this makes now the government to be selective, and that they do not just play or do politics with any just kind of chief, because they must do politics with a chief that has a following. If you do not have a following, they do not do politics with you. As a former senator, they will not appoint you a senator as a chief if you have maybe 100 people under your following. Under you as a chief. You must be somebody who has a big clan or a big following before the government appoints you. This is now where the politics comes. And then I thought that all of us here, because it's something that touches on all of us, we are supposed to condemn that the government is for the people. You should not have to appoint my fund before you think that you develop my village. This is not what it's supposed to be. It is your right to develop my village. It is the government's right to develop my village. Yes, the chief is there, my fund is there to receive the developmental project and even bless you. This is what he's supposed to have. And I do not think that it is just when my phone takes off his staff and goes to Yaoundé that he has weight. What is my role? And that's what I keep on asking. Prince talked about the early years, Jamana, Douala treaties with Bell and Aqua, all of those. Remember that those were before the government settings. And all other funds, even my funds, went into those kind of bilateral treaties with other people. Don't confuse that with chiefs playing partisan politics. They were doing that for the benefit of the Douala people. So a government, that was a traditional setting, a traditional government. So don't bring that and fear that you are trying to put the chief to be into the politics in that perspective.
She's been to talk since. Oui.
Permettez-moi de dire quelque chose, je vous en prie. J'insiste encore en disant, le respect d'un chef ne dépend pas de sa position ou de son parti politique.
Okay.
Ça vraiment, c'est une manière pour vous. Et vous êtes d'ailleurs en train de réduire les chefs à la mendicité. C'est très dangereux ce que vous êtes en train de dire. C'est comme pour dire que Sa Majesté le roi Bamoun vraiment ne vaut pas la peine, c'est pas un chef parce qu'il est sénateur. C'est très dangereux ce que vous dites. C'est parce qu'on appartient à un parti politique qu'on n'a plus d'autorité. Il faut le dire aux Camerounais. Non, je suis très sérieux au point de dire que mon chef en partant à Yaoundé a fait l'accident. Vous mesurez la nature? Vous ne savez pas que même assis sur son lit, on fait l'accident? Vous aviez... Permettez. Vous aviez mesuré ce jour-là? Non, please. A minute. Laissez-moi terminer. Je vous écoute. Moi, je vous écoute. Je dis bien, vous avez mesuré toute la journée ce qui devait lui arriver ou pas?
Il faut que ça arrive autrement, pas que c'est toi qui...
Non, vous n'êtes pas Dieu pour déterminer ce qui arrive, non. Et je vais pas problème avec vous. Le véritable problème avec... Non,
please. Order. Doctor, you were talking here. Dr. Simo was very quiet.
She even sees word for me because I am not finished.
No. Please.
Je vous ai interrompu.
No, but you maybe take the word.
Doctor, allez-y.
Donc je continue de dire non. Vous ne pouvez pas daminer. Et j'ai pas envie de dire sur ce plateau que si on détermine les régions où les chefs sont vénérés, vous savez très bien où ils sont vénérés. Vous allez vous rendre simplement compte que le pouvoir d'un chef, à un moment même, sociologiquement, dépend même de sa tradition. Prenons le littoral où nous nous trouvons. Vous allez nous dire sur ce plateau que les chefs traditionnels Sawa du littoral ne sont pas respectés parce qu'ils sont généralement au bar en train de boire avec les Camerounais. Non.
We are talking politics.
C'est leur culture. Non, c'est un exemple important. Non, c'est un exemple important pour leur faire comprendre qu'ils ne doivent pas réduire le pouvoir du chef parce qu'il est dans un parti politique. C'est trop léger. C'est trop léger. On est dans le littoral ici. C'est manquer du respect au chef. Le chef a un pouvoir qui n'est discutable par personne. Maintenant, l'avantage que le chef se trouve au Sénat, c'est doit être bénéfique même pour cette population. Il est au Parlement. Il est à la table de décision. C'est une occasion pour lui de dire, lorsqu'il y a une action, il est au moins au bon endroit, de place to be. C'est une occasion. On n'a pas dit que tous les chefs doivent y être. Mais lorsqu'on a la chance d'avoir un chef au Parlement, on se dit, nos voix sont beaucoup plus portées. Alors vous n'avez pas tiré sur lui. Mais c'est parce qu'il est au Sénat que vous pensez que son pouvoir traditionnel, son pouvoir en tant que chef a baissé. Non. Et lorsqu'on vous écoute, d'ailleurs, les spectateurs se sont rendus compte, c'est que votre véritable problème n'est pas que le chef adhère au parti politique, mais c'est que le chef a adhéré au RDPC. Et vous allez souffrir de voir des chefs penser et savoir que le seul et meilleur parti où ils peuvent adhérer reste et demeure le RDPC.
Okay, we are moving straight to our second topic. I hope everybody has exhausted what they had to say. With this, okay, 2 minutes.
Yes, you know that just 2 minutes. Let me just be straightforward with these 2 minutes. The partisan politics, as I said, that we are talking here, they truly need. If you hear Prince and Dr. Simo talking, they say a traditional ruler belonging to a particular politics can bring development. Can you bring development in an opposition party? No, they think we are fools here. When you say they are belonging because they can bring development, where is the development coming from? Is it from opposition? No, it's because in their mind they think that development must come when it has to do with ruling party. Mr. Leo, they have not answered the question here. What have traditional rulers who belong to a political party generally, what concrete development have they brought? In Gunakwe, my own has brought a hospital. He's not into partisan politics. He has built a university. He's not into partisan politics. He has conducted schools, not into partisan politics. He has brought electricity, rural electricity. He's not into partisan politics. What have they brought concretely? They have only narrowly escaped and they're blowing grammar in the air. The truth is that defending lies is as difficult as going through the eye of a needle. And that is a needle. He worked with the elites. He worked with the elites. It's simple. You must not be into partisan politics to bring development. And in this elite, those from all other parties contributed. I'm saying they contributed without any problem. And the development came in. And so,
if the chief decides to be the elite himself,
that is why we are saying that in a position of neutrality, I repeat again, since that the commission has refused to be academic, I still insist, in a state of neutrality, traditional rulers gain more powers in working with each and everyone. It's simple.
Vous êtes nombreux si maintenant vous ne l'aimez pas. Les autres
move on, let them be on educating Cameroonians for their partisan politics issue.
No, it's a debate. Everybody has a right to their opinion, and the way you are.
La démocratie qui vous fait dans le Cameroun. C'est only what I want to say.
What is their development?
Okay, please. I want us to look at financing the campaigns for presidential elections. Almost everybody today is saying they want to run for presidential elections. I don't know whether we have measured what it takes. And Doctor, I start once again with you. You have seen, have you actually the impression that the political parties, existing political parties, and those who have declared master what it takes to finance a campaign for a presidential elections in Cameroon?
Yeah, I really think that there are a lot of adventurers into politics in Cameroon as far as these oppositions are concerned. Let us be facing
maybe they have taken their time to work out this out.
Not really taking their time. I'm talking from, I want to use a data.
Okay.
Because when you have a country with about 370 something political parties, who for years, we have had political parties for years who cannot boast of a single councillor somewhere else. Political parties for years who have never gone for presidential election. Political parties for years who have never gone for municipal and legislative elections. And then we call them political parties. These are Njangi groups that we should call them. Because I realize that in Cameroon, most political parties come into politics because they want to gain money. Yes, and that is why the CPDM takes a lot of advantage over them. That during the period of elections like this, you find a lot of them now cross-carpeting and getting to the CPDM and telling how they are the G-banks and the G100 and the G500. This is what happens because they are gunning for a favor from the champion of the CPDM because they fear that when they do that, when they give their votes, which of course I always imagine myself, why should you take even a political party or a leader who comes and he doesn't even have militants and you are sometimes I even see that the CPDM sometimes they play out of their minds because you have political parties who organize rallies and even their families do not attend the rallies. But during the elections they go and say we are given, we are supporting this, and then the whole media is talking about them. Who are they? It's just the fact that they have been registered as political parties. This is a question. Because most of these are people who do have parties in their suitcase. You ask for their offices, they do not have. There are people who do not even know the 10 regions of this country. Even the leaders do not know the 10 regions of this country. How do you say that you are an opposition party and at least the headquarters of this country you do not know? You cannot talk about the headquarters of the 10 regions of Cameroon. And then you say that you are an opposition party and you want to get into the presidency. How does that come? How do you imagine that? Is it by the Holy Spirit? I know there are many of them who talk about the Holy Spirit bringing them into 2D. I think that we have to condemn this thing. Politics is money. You cannot do politics if you do not have money. Those who get into politics and actually think that they will get there with suitcases and have money filled in their suitcases, that is where the problem is going to be, because at one moment you only keep on singing the song of the people in power. I'm not only talking about the CPDM, because tomorrow we'll have another party in power. We may have the MRC in power, we may have the CPD and the SDF in power, but we are saying generally that we have political parties in this country who are not supposed to be regarded as political parties because they came in for different reasons. And I've often said that there are political parties who do not want to go take the presidency. There are political parties who do not want to win the presidency, who do not want to contest for the presidency. There are political parties because they want to get contracts. They want to be seen. Some even just want to be called president, and they are just happy. I mean, they will just want to fear that if there are occasions, they give them invitations and they come out and they show themselves as president. Their villages do not know them. Their families, they never come to whatever they organize. Their friends do not even vote for them. So they are only they are only in beer parlors. And that's why I find most of them, when we come over and Peru, we see many of them. They are in beer parlors, they are all over. And all of what they want to do is, when they hear what they say, all of them is that they are promising they can win the presidential election. And you do not know where they are coming from. They say a lot of conviction. And when they stand here and talk about in the militants that they have the whole Cameroon, from their words of mouth, you feel that, the next election.
I just want to ask that, is the CPDM the cause?
No.
Why? You are not become a journalist. How can now be talking about CPDM? Why do you derail me? Of course. Okay, let me answer him. The CPDM is the cause because most of this authorization of political parties is done by the CPDM. And let me tell you. Listen, Prince. Now let me strike the point. Let me strike the point. One of the most feasible and easy way to rule is to divide. And one of the most best ways to divide is to create
another political party.
You are Frankist Namasa.
Political party cannot authorize another political party.
Listen, let me tell you.
Let Dr. Simo come in, please.
Yes, now I will come in. Let me just finish. Now I want to answer because he says that it's not a CPDM authorizes. You see that who authorizes which a party to go for presidential election? Is it Elecam or is it the Ministry of
Territorial Administration?
No, a Ministry of Territorial Administration just have to tell that this party is registered. It is Elecam who is supposed to investigate and see whether this party is fit, has the criteria, and has fulfilled the condition to go for election. It's not the Ministry of Territorial Administration. And now, listen now, why are you?
No, please, you guys are derailing this program. Please, no, please, you came with different tension. Hold on.
Why has he become a journalist?
Hold on. Please.
Why is Prince a journalist?
Now, Dr. Simon.
Vraiment encore très étonné, et ça me permet simplement de comprendre combien vous aviez peur du RDPC, et rassurez-vous. C'est un
qui parle du RDPC ici.
Oui,
il a plus parlé de l'opposition.
Non, j'y arrive. Non, parce qu'à la fin, il y a une belle question et il a répondu. Non, et il a répondu. Je vais aller plus loin. J'ai envie de lui faire savoir en disant quelque chose de pertinent, Mr. Kum. En politique, aucun parti politique n'est sous-estimable. Il faudrait bien qu'il le sache. Et puis lorsque je l'entends dire combien de partis politiques où il n'y a que le père, la mère, ou alors on ne peut pas entendre les mêmes... Ne sous-estimez aucun parti politique. Déjà que nous sommes conscients, nous savons que pour créer un parti politique, il y a un minimum de conditions. Parce qu'à l'entendre parler, c'est comme si on se lève le matin et on dit, bon, ok, moi, je vais créer un parti politique et puis on s'assoit dans la chambre, on griffonne là et puis basta, on a un parti politique. Non, c'est un travail bien construit, avec des membres et des adhérents bien construits. C'est une association. Pour ceux qui ont la chance de légaliser l'association, ils savent un peu ce qu'on leur demande souvent de faire. Donc, on ne pense pas que parce qu'on a 370 partis politiques, ils ne servent à rien. Pardon. Il n'y a qu'une minorité des partis qui doivent être respectés parce qu'ils sont... Non. Sinon, nous, RDPC, on va dire, bon, ok, vous gesticulez pourquoi? Parce qu'au moins, le RDPC reste et demeure l'unique parti politique au monde, pour ne pas dire au Cameroun déjà, qui s'étend sur tout le territoire national. Nous sommes d'accord. Maybe. Si vous voulez, ça peut vous faire plaisir.
No, I want us to stay with the topic. We are talking about financing campaigns.
J'y arrive.
Yeah.
C'est pour dire que lorsqu'on parle de politique, il ne faudrait pas sous-estimer un parti politique. Maintenant, lorsque un parti politique ou alors un leader d'un parti politique vous dit « Je vais m'investir, je me porte candidat pour les prochaines élections », il ne faudrait pas non plus le sous-estimer. Parce que nous, au RDPC, on ne sous-estime personne. Ça, il faut le dire. On ne sous-estime personne. Parce que si vous convenez avec moi que one person, one voice, donc personne n'est sous-estimable. Il faut simplement qu'on se mette au travail. Les textes sont clairs, les conditions sont clairement établies. Comment faire pour être éligible? Tout le monde sait. Comment faire pour être électeur? Tout le monde sait. Maintenant, quelles sont les conditions? Est-ce que vous aviez ces 30 millions pour avoir la caution? Est-ce que vous avez la capacité de faire la campagne. Est-ce que vous avez la capacité de parcourir tout le territoire pour amener les Camerounais à comprendre que le meilleur, est-ce que c'est vous? Si vous estimez, et vous devez le sentir par vous-même, c'est pas le RDPC qui viendra dire que vous vous sentez capable de le faire ou pas. C'est vous qui le sentez. Maintenant, lorsque je vais chuter pour la première piste avec des alliances politiques, je l'entends parler des G20, G8, G4, et ils s'en plaignent. En politique, il faut le dire, on n'empêche pas les alliances. Les alliances ne sont pas un problème. On peut faire alliance. D'ailleurs, quelqu'un disait d'ailleurs que l'union fait la force. Aujourd'hui, on a les APC à gauche, on a les PCP, on a les ci, on a les ça. On n'empêche pas les alliances. Si vous estimez que seul, vous ne pesez pas, surtout devant une mastodonte comme le RDPC, nous vous prions même de faire des alliances. Parce qu'en réalité, même, il faut une alliance pour essayer de nous secouer. Mais si vous venez de manière disparate, rassurez-vous, on va vous émietter comme des autres. C'est une évidence. Alors, parce qu'on sait qu'on le sent faible, alors il faut bien qu'on fasse des alliances. Et en politique, les alliances ne sont pas interdits. Les alliances même peuvent vous aider même à asseoir la campagne politique. Ça, il faut le dire. Ce n'est pas tout le monde qui peut avoir 30 millions pour payer une caution de l'élection présidentielle. Ce n'est pas tout le monde qui peut avoir de l'argent pour asseoir une campagne lors d'une élection. Donc parfois, lorsque vous vous sentez faible, lorsque vous vous sentez incapable, il est même mieux de faire les alliances. Ce n'est pas mauvais. C'est pas mauvais. Donc maintenant, ne jugez pas. Pardon? C'est pour vous là-bas. Je dis bien, en politique, l'alliance n'est pas interdite. Écoutez-moi bien. J'ai l'impression que vous ne m'écoutez pas. L'alliance n'est pas interdite. Et il ne faudrait pas sous-estimer une alliance. Et encore moins un parti politique. Lorsqu'un parti politique est légalement créé, légalisé, ne le sous-estimez pas.
We are talking about financing elections.
Yes.
What does it take to run a perfect campaign for the presidential elections in Cameroon?
Well, it takes a lot, which I'm going to enumerate.
Financially?
Financially, which I have to be able to elaborate here, while interjecting with what Dr. Simo just said, which is contradictory, that you cannot underestimate a political party. What she said, that you cannot underestimate the political, n'est-ce pas? Yes, and why she said so, I say it's contradictory because her party underestimates. What she's saying is different from what her party is saying. Her party officials call some parties petit parti politique.
Je peux expliquer.
No, excuse me, doctor. Doctor, excuse me. Ça même sens. What? When you hear, when I say they contradict themselves, you say you should not underestimate. But at the same time, your party officials call other political parties petit parti politique. When you call them petit parti politique, means you've already underestimated them. That was not one. Now, doctor, let's just leave that one. We are just playing grammar here. Let me go now to what Mr. Leo just asked me. When you call useless, it still means you are underestimating.
Yes.
You are what it takes now to run political parties financially is enormous. One, those who postulate as presidential, let me talk about presidential campaign because that's the heading here, not municipal, not the other one. Let's talk about presidential. The first thing is that one should be sure that he will be able to meet the conditions laid down. Financially, it's 30 million that you put down as cushion. I mean, that one is sure, financially. But then away from the 30 million, the other aspects that have to follow has to do with manning your representatives in the over 25,000 polling stations. Now, for parties that cannot have the 25,000 polling stations, they might go into regionalization tendencies. Now, regionalization, what does it mean? It means that they could carve particular zones where they feel they are comfortable in to make sure that they have representatives that they can man those areas. And if you take it, some will work their calculation. If you have 25,000 and then take some regionalization aspect, that where you want to be present, you could bring that 25,000 polling stations down to maybe 15,000. And you ask yourself, do I have 15,000 representatives in 15,000 police stations where I think I'm capable? Where, for example, I will be able to convince them either to pay a 10,000 for the polling agents or to pay them a 5,000 for the polling agent times 15,000. Those who are saying they want to go presidential, listen very well. I have the impression that, like what the Dr. Demetrius just said, some of them don't understand the stakes that are there. Maybe they are just coming to stand and get some other fame, like I was once presidential candidate and other. As an aspirant, if you want to put the money, you have to foot the bills of the representation of the polling stations, even just 15,000 polling agents. You now discover that the 30 million and take those 15,000 police stations, leaving the 25,000, leaving 10,000 away, you now realize that you will be talking about not less than 50 million francs CFA. Now we're talking about money and paying the caution. Now, if you take a look at those like Dr. Macho said rightly, many of them don't even know that you have to go around the 10 regions of the country. Now, for those who are stronger enough, they will go not only at the regional headquarters, they have to go further. What does it take? What is your campaign team? Just for communication alone, a good presidential candidate for the communication, manning media organs and paying for the communication bills, including billboards, banners and all the like, will not take you less than 50 million francs CFA.
We're talking billions.
Yes, we're coming. Now I'm just talking minimal. Assuming I want to select some few media organs, you understand? Now I'm saying minimal. I will not take you less than 50 million. We had 30 million for caution. We have 50 million for manning the media minimum. And then for the presidential, for the presentation of the political power, police stations, you will have another 50 million. We're not talking about over 150 million already. Some of them have not yet measured this thing that this ground they're blowing. Now, when you come down to the aspect of moving with convoy, that's another ball game. Now, you will know that you will not be moving alone. You're a presidential candidate. Surely, let's take you reduce your convoy to 10 cars, for example. Let's say you want to minimize it. If you minimize that convoy, you are moving now with 10 cars, and we say not less than 30 persons. For that, those are small. But a normal convoy, you will not be less than 50 because you are moving the whole communication team, you are moving with the political strategic team, you are moving with the financial team, who are ready to disburse, and you are moving with advisors who will be telling you, do we go to Monotele or not? Let's shift. Time is catching us short. Let's instead move to Ngeremenduka. All those strategic planners have to be with you if you want to man a complaint. I speak as someone who mans that of Prophet Franklin Afanui of blessed memory. And so these are the measures we put in place. And at each stage, budget is required. Now, logistics is another one.
Yeah, hotel bills.
Hotel bills, that's for other logistic. Now, if you have 10 cars, you have to move around the 10 regions. They have to be fueled constantly. You move alongside with standby mechanics because the cars will also have breakdown along the road because in the presidential campaign, the convoys are always on top speed, which means they bomb even into potholes to catch up with time. It means that you have steady mechanics who will be able to buy anything that gets bad and repair on the spot. That's another point. If you group that, you could estimate their own budget for that repairs and fueling for the 2 weeks running non-stop. It means that you also have another close to 40 million minimum that you hold. I say minimum because you want to add hotel bills in it, because when we move there, you will not be grouping 5 people in a hotel. Maximum you could manage 2 and 3, but there are some officials that sleep alone in the hotel, like third-party officials. It means that for the hotel bills itself, you already have another bill again that will be not be less than 22 million francs CFA. We are not getting about 300 million. I mean minimum. We are still reducing for those that will be in low key. Now, when you look at it, you now realize that with the adjustments you have to do, feeding. When you get to a particular area, there are some parties you meet them on the ground. They'll give their complaints. If you are in Monatele, if you are in Ngolemunduka, if you are in Baturi, if you are in Sabongare, they'll be telling you these are the things we need here, and then you have to cover out some money. It means that you are supposed to have an average of not less than 200 million francs kept, which is still small. That you'll be pinching bit by bit and giving. I'm talking about those in low key.
Now, flyers.
You have flyers to do. Now, take for example, for the CRM, we have a budget of 6 billion. That's billion. I'm talking about billion. Now, probably we have to take our own high gear. You now see that when we're talking about 500 to 1 billion for those who are low key, in a professional manner, CBN will understand. They spend more than that because they remove the money from the government coffers. They remove the money from the government coffers at random. Now, and why they move, you will now discover that their own budget is above us because it's above that. Yeah, no, I'm explaining that it's not easy. That's what I'm explaining. So if you look at the billions there, you now realize that we queue now what Dr. Divacho just said, that some of them don't even understand the stakes. They don't even know the stakes. That's why most of them are clowns. They are only coming as adventurers. Now, when you put all of this together, you now realize that before, on the election day itself, you still have another logistic that must go around. It's not just compensating those who are there. I mean, there are feedings, we have telephone bills that have to be manned because there must be a perfect communication network where you can sit from here and get a polling agent from Garwabulai, another one from Mukolo, who will tell you that this is the situation.
You also have to set up a headquarters.
There's a headquarters.
That's monitoring.
Yes, like when we were here doing the period of Professor Franklin, just like CRM, they had a perfect communication team. Even Barrister Keremuna had a perfect communication. I had colleagues who were working with them, and the man's communication team that consumed huge budget for doing that period. So you look at it that if we're talking about billions to man a serious, I repeat, a serious presidential campaign, it now tells you that if you go by judgment, It means that those, because I got one from Monatele, who's a very interesting one too, an adjutant chef. But when I got his interview, he was talking about parce que 300 signatures et puis 30 millions. Most of them, I think all of the caution, 30 millions, 30 millions. You know, apart from that 30 millions,
okay,
you have hundreds of millions to put in. So it's not going to be business as
do
usual.
people actually measure what it takes? How easy it is to raise the normal sums is raising here?
Okay, thank you once more, Leonard. Before I go into your question, I want to draw some clarification in respect to what Dr. Dimancho said. Please, the CPDM does not authorize other political parties. In Cameroon, if you have to form a political party, you go through the Ministry of Territorial Administration, MINAT. Now, when MINAT gives you the authorization to function as a political party, if you think that you have to run for elections, whether municipal, legislative, or presidential elections, then now you deal with ELECAM.
That's what I said.
So it should be clear. The CPDM does not authorize or hinder any political party.
Minister,
I want that to be clear. Now,
CPDM is a Minaj.
Yes.
CPDM is a government, the government is a CPDM.
no, please. CPDM, no, CPDM is not the government.
No, please, we don't have much time. Can you just
The government has a constitution
Please.
that they operate on.
Can you
The
just-
CPDM will
please,
have our
please,
party
please.
basic text
Yes.
that we operate on. So
Yeah.
it should be clear. Okay, now to come to your question, Mr. Leo, you see, people don't really understand what it means to run for presidential elections. That is why we, the Frankists, we understood what it means, and we have been doing the groundwork since 2020, 5 years counting, because we know what awaits us. For my research, to run a political campaign, a presidential campaign, in a country like Cameroon, we need at least $5 million. $5 million, if you convert to CFA, is between 2.5 to 3 billion francs CFA. Now, we looked at other sources that political parties or presidential candidates can use to run for presidential elections, to finance presidential elections. One of the sources is public funding. You know, the electoral code of Cameroon permits that once a candidate is approved by ELECAM, you benefit some subsidy, initial subsidy from the government. But it is very minute and limited. It cannot really do anything substantial if you have to run for presidential elections. Then after the elections, if you were able to have a minimum of 5% vote, they will cover part of your expenses. So it will go as per the number of votes or the percentage of vote that you have. But the law set a certain ceiling that they will not go above. Another source of financing a presidential campaign can be personal wealth. When I look at people rushing to say they declare themselves presidential candidates, I just laugh, because you must first of all be well-to-do. You must be well-to-do. You cannot see somebody who is still struggling to make ends meet, and he or she thinks that he can be president of the republic. We should stop dreaming and face reality. To be a president of a republic, personally, your personal life, you must be financially buoyant, because they even expect that 10% of the 3 billion should come from you, the candidate. It means that you should be able to put at least 300 million on the table from your personal means, if you are serious that you want to be president of the republic. Another source is party support, and that has been the strength in the CPDM, and that is what us in the Frankist movement we are trying to copy. The strength in the CPJ, like now in Toko, I'm talking, we are in politics. We are mobilizing funds to support our campaign. We of the CPDM in Toko, people are donating. And we have a budget of about 5 to 7 million, only within the subdivision to run the campaign. How many subdivisions do we have in Cameroon? We have more than 300 subdivisions. So you see, it is a very huge responsibility when somebody gets up and says he wants to run for presidential elections when you are not sure of all these sources. Another source is the diaspora, where those who are out there can decide, you know, to put their hands together and support a candidate who is here. Like we see some people out there trying to mobilize some funds to support some candidates down here. But what I have to say, if I have to, there's even another point: business alliances, where you meet business captains of industries, either local or international, because these are economic gurus. They can inject money into your political agenda, and if you win, okay, they have something, you know, to gain behind you, since you are into office. Now, when you look at all these individuals coming up, especially of the Anglophone folk, because I feel very bitter, because you see all that drama is from our own Anglophone folks. Somebody has never been into politics. Somebody does not have any electorate. He just gets up at the verge of election that he wants to be president. It's as if
but today we had the announcement of an adjutant chef in Monatele. Yesterday we had that lady is a stylist. Yeah. Yeah, so
on est libre, on est libre de le faire.
No, but just
go on. Qu'il
finisse, s'il vous plaît, qu'il finisse.
Mais il faut le dire,
I was just queuing you.
No, what I'm saying is an issue of TV showmanship. You know, one-man show. But we should be serious. Cameroon is not a banana republic where TV actors just get up and say, I want to stand for presidential candidate. We should stop all that nonsense. That is why you see we of the Frankist movement, we have been preparing the candidacy of Frank Biya only after President Paul Biya for 5 years. We have been in the field. As I speak, we are counting 6 million Frankists in and out of the country. 6 million. If we say each Frankist 1,000, that's already 6 billion on the table. We are sure we can run a presidential campaign for Frank Emmanuel Olivier Biya only after President Paul Biya. So we should be serious. I mean, I'm talking especially to the Anglophone folks, Mr. Leo, because I've seen a couple of them come on this platform to say they are presidential candidates. We should be serious. It is not a joke.
That chef did not declare on my phone. Stop tagging me. That lady who is a stylist did not do that. It's a fashion designer. Did not do it here. I'm sure. Why so many persons have declared? There are more than 25 of them. Only a few have come here. Why are you so concerned with what? Yes. Dr. Dimancho, is it time for persons to know that you need what it takes to raise billions to be able to run elections, or also be rich yourself? That is, having this notion that politics is not for the poor. We saw what Obama did, raising huge sums, people supporting, and before engaging, we saw what Obi did in Nigeria. So much money, because it requires a lot of communication, and communication is not for free.
Politics is not for poor people. I've said this and said this again. Even when you look at George Weah in Liberia, when he won an election, you saw the way he beat campaigns where helicopters flying the air from one village to the other, that was not water he was pouring there, or he didn't have a factory where he manufactured all those things. So just to let you know that politics is more, even in Europe, when you have to go to places like France, even though they have a quarter of amount of money you need to take from outside. In France, there's an amount of money that you don't have to go above when you are support for your campaign. That's to show that you need to have your personal money or the party money to run for elections. But these are things that we don't regard in Cameroon. We just see any Dick and Tom gets up, and that's what I was condemning. Any Dick and Tom gets up, and then at one moment now he feels that, oh, this thing was not really for simpletons like me, it was not for people like me. And what does he do? He now goes and stands behind somebody and says that he is joining forces with other people. I did not ever say that alliances are bad. I'm just saying that there are some people who get surprised along the way because they were not informed, they were not educated, they were not schooled on forming a political party. And that gives us reasons to believe that there are some invisible hands in creation of these parties. Because how do you think that over 370 parties, and when you come to elections, you don't have more than 15 parties going for a presidential election? How do you explain that? And that has been like that for years. When you take from 1992, we have never had quite really above 20 parties going for presidential election. But we have parties being formed every day. What are they waiting for? Do they think that when they form those parties, they are going to get some magic money from somewhere to be able to run their political parties or whatsoever? Because you have parties for you to run for presidential election, you must be sure of the militancy that you have all over the country. We have parties without offices. They cannot create even an office, even the central bureau office that they can work for. They do not have. What are they expecting? What they expect, and what I'm suggesting, that most people think that they get into politics to get money. You don't get into politics to get rich. You get into politics because you want to offer something. You get into politics because you have, at least you have some investment. And that is why in one of the of my writings to opposition parties, I advised the electorate and I said, look at the people, the opposition parties who come to lure you. Look at their manifestos, their programs. Go into the histories of those politicians, because one of the things that we do is somebody just stand on TV and then he speaks, and then tomorrow we start thinking that we are going to vote for this person. There is something much more of that about that. What has this person done on the ground? What have they done? They should be able to show proof of something that they have done on the field to be able to lure us to that. It is not just about talking on TV. It is also about showing proof of what they have done. This is what I'm talking about. That you get up today, we are less than 6 months to presidential election, and then you get up today and then you declare. To me, that is just playing to the gallery. You just want to show off. Maybe you want to create some content. This is what I say. They are creating content. They want to be known, not because they want to be presidential candidate. And you know in the first place, the hitches that you need to go through to get into to run for presidency. If you do not have a political party, means that you have 2 ways to go. First of all, you need to run the signatures. And you know those signatures in Cameroon are owned by who? By a certain party. And that party will not give you those signatures. I don't want to call the name. Secondly, you know that to go as an independent candidate, you can buy over another party who doesn't want to run. And I'm asking myself, why is there a party that doesn't even want to run? You want to come and buy them. I hear some party are taxing as much as 50 million. Because they have councillors and they are eligible to go. You come, you buy 50 million, you take over. So why don't you prepare? Why in a haste? Is it as if it is the end of the world? I think that it is because we are hearing for goals or for some intentions that I do not understand. Elections are planned for. People plan for elections in 10, 15, 20 years. Those who have gone for elections have planned well ahead of time. You will not come in less than 5 months and then you are clamoring for people, and people who have been there. You would think that you go in for election. First of all, the preparation that you are going to have. I mean, when are you going to just going around the 10 regions of Cameroon? It is already so tiring and exhausting for you to be able to show your face. So I think that people are not informed about this, and that they are going there for different goals. And I still stand on my point to say that, having a strong force like what the CPDN has doesn't really mean that they are strong. It doesn't mean that they are false. They always feel that they are weak. And you know that since 1992, the CPDN is always in alliance because they know they are weak. And that is why they keep on going for alliances, for alliances, for alliances. Alliances are good. And that is what I even advocated for the opposition parties to go for an alliance. And most of them are refusing. All of that because of egoism. And this makes us understand, when you collect all this data, you make us understand that some people do not even want to go in for election. They don't want to win the precidency. They just want to show off. And doesn't go well.
We are out of time. We have one minute each. Dr. Simon, what should we consider before we even start thinking of going for presidential elections?
Non, ce qu'il faut dire, ce qu'il faut retenir, c'est que n'est pas président qui veut, ça il faut le dire. Et d'ailleurs, le chef de l'État l'avait démontré une année, ne dit pas au pouvoir qui veut, mais qui peut. Donc, ça peut s'apparenter également à n'est pas président de la République qui veut. Vraiment, il y a un véritable travail de fond qui est fait en amont, ça il faut le dire aux Camerounais. Et il y a une ressource assez énorme qu'il faudrait bien mobiliser. Et vous convenez avec moi que tout le monde n'a pas la capacité de mobiliser toutes ces ressources-là. Maintenant, il ne faudrait pas que nous spéculons sur les personnes qui se lèvent de nulle part et vous disent qu'ils sont candidats indépendants, ça, ou bien alors présents, qui seront candidats à l'élection présidentielle. Nous sommes en année électorale et rassurez-vous, c'est des choses qui arrivent. D'ailleurs, beaucoup vont encore se lever. Mais je veux simplement conclure en vous disant, face à une mastodonte comme le RDPC, vous gagnerez à mieux vous préparer, à mieux vous arranger pour pouvoir l'affronter.
Okay. Yes. How do we even profile? How do we profile those who have the capacity? Because, like she says, it is not through wishes or desires or declaration for you to run, but you should really know your capacity to. How do we profile so that votes are not wasted? Because it would serve no purpose to go behind persons that you know do not have what it takes to go for elections.
Yes, I think how we profile them is very easy. They are coming from somewhere that people know them. If you have manned a small community, they can start assessing from that level. If you man even as an association, even your village association, whatever, those are things that can show that you have an exemplary character to be a leader. But unfortunately, we don't really find with most of the candidates who come, we just see them surface, and then we start going and to start finding out exactly who they are. But I think at the level of financing political parties, CRM is taking the lead and doing it very well. We started that official with numbers and bank accounts, everything, because we understand the stakes that are there, and people are responding as it's supposed to be, according to the in line with the text. And of course, we want to salute those who are responding, and their accounts are swelling as we speak now. So I think it takes just an aspect of people to think, to know, to find out who is talking and who wants to be presidential candidate and what is that person's portfolio. From there, they can be able to decide. Just like Dr. Simo said, which is the only thing I agree with her now, that many will still come. But I think we still have worry here. At the level of the financing, we have a similar structure where I say sometimes how you finance matters and what's the motive behind. Okay, we understand that Boya, CPD militants, youth in Boya, they want to finance. And the financing and the message behind becomes now another problem. That they want to raise money to support, they want to raise the caution of President Paul Biya. That communique is quite very okay, and I started asking myself, there are some times you want to finance, you are playing politics, but the policy backfires on you, and it doesn't give a good image. That some people think that they want to support, they want to pay for the caution of President Paul Biya, which gives a different scenario as if he is unable. Now, you see that if opposition parties will want to raise money to support the caution of a particular leader, that a ruling party itself that has been powerful, having fought over for something years, gives you the wrong impression that they want to support President Paul Biya's caution, it becomes very questionable. And I was very disturbed with that communique coming from Boya. They say they want to do that, whether it's on Saturday or whatever. But I think now there are things that when we do, that's why I said that when the gods want to punish you, they remove wisdom from you, and it becomes
I think Boya is just the third. The others who have already opted.
The National Youth Council.
Yes, they started. Is the National Youth Council?
Yes. So you look at it that now when we start talking about that, you start asking yourself, we have worrisome aspects around us. Like we used to say, we criticize, but we understand we have issues of road. We have issues of water supply. Boya does not have. Boya in particular has issues of water as I speak now. The roads are practically difficult. We have traffic congestion all the time. The roads into the quarters are not even going. Now, that's why you see sometimes we could criticize, but we praise some of them. If you look at the elites in Nchupichem and Noliinga, now what they did in Yaoundé was that they raised money to develop the area, and they raised over 25 billion last week, which was good. No, million.
Okay.
Which was good for development purpose. Now, but when some people come and say they want to raise, now start asking yourself, if the Cameroon Youth League or whatever is raising 30 million, Buya is raising, Norway is raising at the end, are they telling us all that money when they know the realities on the ground? Because I'm talking about misplacement of priority. And now we have issues at stake. Just to come here, help with traffic congestion because the roads are practically impassable. And we are not getting any bona fide ruling party who say, okay, the Frankist movement in Douala or in Toko, they want to raise money to supply water in Toko, which is an enclave area. No, their grammar is different. And you start asking yourself, do we really have people-oriented approach for those who are going for presidential election? Some will have. The majority of the ruling party, they don't even have at all. Okay. I mean, they don't have at all. Okay. And it becomes a problem and a cause for concern. And that's why we think that we need to move towards people-oriented approaches.
Please, your last words on how to profile and identify those who are real and those who are fake.
Yes, identifying those who are real is by their works in the field. You know, those who are able to build the electorate, as we say in local parlance, politics na number. We look at your followers. You know, somebody will not just get up with no follower, no base, no electorate, nothing, and just say, I want to be president of the republic. It cannot go that way. So we should have some standards to actually identify genuine candidates for the office of the president. And one of the ways we go to do that identification is to measure the following of the person, to see if he has a base, if he has built an electorate, and from there we can judge if the person is worth supporting or not.
Okay.
Thank you.
We want to thank you, Dr. Dimancho, for coming. Doctor, you are the one who spoke highest on this topic.
Yes, that was my chance.
Yes.
So I'm saying that good leaders come from the society, and they always have the people's call. It is not by getting over and say I'm a leader, but it's somebody who has the people's call. The people ask you to go because they see what you have been doing in the community. So those who come from the vacuum and they say I'm a leader of the MPC, of the PPP, and who do not have anybody to attest to the fact, those are scammers, and then we should have to put them in the dustbin. So I greet all Cameroonians. Thank you, Mr. Liu, for inviting me.
Dr. Dimancho, thank you for coming, and to you, Dr. Simo, thank you for coming, and you, Prince, thank you.
Thank you very much.
The Kangaroo Man, thank you for coming.
It's my pleasure. Let me just greet the mayor of Limbe 1 and the principal of Government Bilingual Technical High School Limbe.
The mayor of Limbe 1 is CPDM.
Yeah. I greet persons. I'm not talking about CPDM. Okay. I'm greeting. You should not interject.
I know you have a phobia against
no. CPDM is a kangaroo government. It's a kangaroo system. And no, sometimes I agree if you change. Yes, and then I think greetings to all the principals in Kumba, who are quite all our good friends, GBHS Kumba and all the like, and Kas Kumba and all the like. So, but I think, Mr. Leo, the good thing, the take-home message. Traditional rulers who jump into partisan politics begin by dividing their kingdom.
Okay, thank you very much. And to the production team, Eli and Desmond, and to you, Tabi, Tambe Bryant, for supervision. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.